I very recently got hold of the GPSMAP Garmin 67i, and basically I think this is probably going to replace my Inreach Mini 2. Now, some of you who know me will probably be thinking, why is he going bigger, chunkier, beefier, heavier, rather than, you know, rather than smaller, lighter, etc., etc. Well, there's definitely something to that, and you know, I think, you know, rescue SOS units and mobile communicators are getting smaller and smaller than the Inreach. I had no real reason to get this, more vanity than anything else. The only thing, as I mentioned in another video on this trip, to me the Inreach Mini 2 is a little bit of a one-trick pony. You can do your instant messaging, but I don't have anyone to message. Poor sad bloke. But you know, I don't have anyone to message, so that part of it for me is superfluous. Obviously you have the emergency part, and that's really what I was carrying it for. So I had this, you know, 112 gram unit that literally only did for me one thing, and that was an emergency, you know, an emergency call, which, you know, isn't a bad thing to do. It's obviously a very good thing. But I've been using Garmin GPS watches for quite a while, and I've got the Talkytaoster mapping on them, and I really do like the Talkytaoster maps. Now, admittedly, the mapping on a watch or even on a GPS unit, I have to say, is no match for the mapping, OS or Harvey mapping on a phone. You know, the phone screen is brighter, it's clearer, it's crisper. You know, it is leagues ahead. You know, I'm not going to say that the mapping on this or this is better than a paper map. It's not. Or that is better on mapping on your phone if you're using, you know, proper OS type mapping. It just isn't. The screen is clearer, everything is clearer, there is more detail. But the mapping on this is also very, very good. And there are times where, one, maybe you just want to conserve phone power, in which case you have this. Also, of course, it's all touch screen, and there have been occasions, to be fair, not often, but there have been occasions where the touch screen in the rain is just a nightmare. It just, the screen size either does that or it does that, and you just can't use it. I had that issue on Dartmoor, you know, a few months ago, I think, like in the summer. Actually, it was in August. It was one of my August trips, funnily enough. It was a wet August trip, and you know, I was trying to navigate with the phone, and the screen was just doing all sorts of particularly daft things. I did think about the Montana, but Martin, who runs Talkytaoster, owns Talkytaoster mapping, he did kind of point me away from that and to this one, because the Montana 700 series is touch screen, which is what we're trying to get away from, you know, with a phone. So a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, I had a sat map, a GPS navigator with Ordnance Survey mapping on it. And I did like that, you know, a lot. And then I just moved to phones and I didn't use that one anymore. But I did miss, you know, a proper dedicated GPS unit with mapping on it, you know, with buttons. But most of the ones that Garmin had, apart from the Montana and obviously this one, you know, they were very small screens, or quite small screens. And to me, I had everything that I needed on my watch. But there were occasions when the watch screen was just a bit too small. And like I said, I just didn't always want to rely, you know, on the phone. So I got the Garmin GPSMAP 67i. It's about 220 grams. I'll put a weight on the screen. So it is pretty much double the weight of the Inreach Mini 2. But I'm getting a lot more bang for the buck. I'm getting exactly the same messaging, which I don't need. I'm getting the same SOS, which hopefully I don't need. But, you know, I'm also getting marginally bigger mapping than on my watch. It's not as good as on the phone. But, you know, it is touchscreen. And it is pretty detailed on there, you know, from where we are in camp, you know, with this mapping here, you know, I can see points that I've got, you know, I can go over tours, and there it's naming Dotor there, you know, and then we can scroll around. It gives you, when you put your pointer over something, so it's saying that's heath, it's giving that height there as 450 meters. It's saying that's a footpath. When that's saying that's what that is there. It's saying the height of that one there. It's telling us what that tour is. We can come into find, we can enter there, and it's literally got all the tours around us. If you wanted to navigate to any one of those tours, you could do that. Obviously waypoints, tracks, routes are all things that you would pre-program yourself. All of these are customizable, so any of these you can put in any order, you know, that you want to. If you go to menu, you can go down to change item order, you can highlight it and then move it up and down when it's red. So, you know, it took a few minutes to figure it out, but it's really not that complicated. So that's the menu. You've got a dedicated compass, so you just point it down there, and north is kind of in that direction there, and then you get a bit of other information up above. You can do various things here. You can calibrate, sight and go. So sight and go is pretty much like taking a compass bearing and then heading in that direction, so you can do different things there. You've got an altimeter, so that gives you your height. So we're currently 422 meters here. You've got a trip counter, so, you know, if you were recording a trip, that would give you information there. And again, if you want to, you can change data fields like you can on the Garmin watches. You can change the dashboard, so you can do, I haven't played around with this at all. I'll have a nose at that sometime, but you can change all of that detail there. And then you're back to the map, and you can add other bits of information in. You've got the danger zone marked on the map there, so you know that you're in a firing, you know, to avoid that area. I've got them both. I'm actually going to keep sort of having played with them for a little while. I've got this Garmin attachment here, so okay, I haven't got the other. Oh, there's the there's the other bit there. So you put that on the back of the Garmin. That attaches to the back of the Garmin there with a tether, so you can't lose it. That straps onto your backpack, so you could put that on your shoulder strap up here or up here. The line that Garmin supply actually isn't very long, so I will swap that out because that's not long enough for my eyes. It's a little bit blurry at that distance. I can read it marginally better there, so yeah, I will need to change this for a longer bit of string, as it were. But that goes onto your backpack, and then it just sticks on. It's just a Velcro attachment, and it seems strong enough. I don't think that's going to I think maybe if you really finally so it took a lot of shaking to shake that off, so I think for most uses that will stay on quite well, so shouldn't have a problem holding that on. I will probably return this one. This is a Chinesey thing. This has got a longer cord on it. One of the problems that I find with the Chinesey one is that with the Garmin one, obviously it's just pull off, stick back on, so you don't really have to be too exact about it. But I think there will be times when you'll want to take that off. The Chinesey one, obviously this bit here is much more substantial than that, so from that point of view I think it's probably better. It probably is more secure because when the Garmin is attached to that, you kind of put it on at an angle and then twist lock it, and it definitely isn't going to come off easily. It does go on. I did try it when I was walking, and it does go on reasonably well. It's not that difficult. It's not that fiddly. So I think some people will prefer this. The problem that I have is that this is really difficult to remove. When you've got this attached onto here, it's really difficult to get it off. There's a clip down there that goes into there, and when that clips into there and you've got it on, it's really difficult to get it off. I think part of the thing is the Garmin one, when you look at the back of it, it's got this bit here is really quite solid, but this bit here there's not much to it, so it's slightly easier to bend to lift that little catch up, whereas this one here, it's got solid plastic that goes all the way down to the end down here. So all of the plastic is really quite rigid and and stiff. So it's really difficult to get that off. I've put it on here twice and I have got it off twice, obviously, but it's really difficult. So I think I'm going to return that one and keep the Garmin one and try the Garmin one and see, you know, see how I get on with it. It's just much, it's just much easier to get on and off. You know, it's still a really good fit. I mean, that is not going to come off once it's on. But I just think that this attachment here, you know, should be plenty good enough, you know, for most purposes. I mean, it's the only problem with Velcro is how long, you know, how long will the Velcro last? Because obviously over time you get bits stuck in it, so that's the only thing. And the Velcro on the back here is much bigger than this patch here, so you know, you don't have to be particularly exact with where it goes on. You know, it really is a matter. So I just thought I would just show you that as well. Yeah, it definitely comes off more easily than the Chinesey one. So I just thought I'd just show you the nav screen as we're heading to the car. So here you can see it's the compass arrow is a huge pointy arrow saying go that way, that direction. It's saying we'll get to ETA 11:42. Time to next, which doesn't make any sense, 23:33. So I don't know. Oh, that's the timer, isn't it? Oh no, it's not. I don't know. I don't know what time to next is, because that doesn't make, obviously when you stop walking. Oh, of course it's the time, isn't it? Oh, you idiot, Tony. It's counting down, isn't it? So yeah, sorry. Oh, I'm so stupid sometimes. It's not difficult. 23 minutes to the destination, and then estimated time of arrival 11 o'clock, 11:40, you know, 11:43. Yeah, so 23 minutes to the destination, and when you stop, it kind of stops. And then the time, estimated time of arrival, sorry, distance remaining, just over 1 kilometre obviously, and then the speed that we are walking down this hill. So yeah, there's a few useful little things there. So this page is probably very customizable. That's the map. So there you can see that we're basically just following a straight line. I just put in direct routing. I couldn't get it to route nav aids or anything else. Obviously a course or a, you know, course or track that you put in, it will do. I tried that last night. I didn't leave the tent obviously, but you know, it would do that, but it wouldn't take me somewhere that you sort of put in out here, probably because I'm in the middle of nowhere and maybe I wasn't near a path, I don't know. But you can see there we're heading downhill. We're heading, you know, downhill. We're going to cross a stream. So, which is all that stuff over there. So, main menu, altimeter. So obviously we've done a total ascent of 300 meters. We've got an elevation, current elevation of 374. So hopefully, yeah, so as we go down, that's dropping. Let's wait for it to go down 1 more meter. Yep, there, so that's definitely that. This is the trip computer, so you've got a load of information on here. Again, this is all customizable, so I might have a bit of a play with this and change a few things. You know, what do you use? So you've got your current elevation, that's useful. The trip odometer, that's how much we've done, so 1.3 kilometers. Distance to destination, just over 1 kilometer. Estimated time of arrival 11:44. Current speed, average moving speed, and average overall speed, which I've added down the bottom. I find those all quite useful to have. The heading west, that one I might change for something else, because you've got that information on the big compass. So maybe that one I might change. Time of day 11:23. That's probably useful, even though I've got half a dozen watches and phones. So I suppose time of day and the heading could be changed, maybe. Put your thoughts below. And obviously the time that we've been walking, 31 minutes. And then we're back to compass, and then the map. And then obviously you've got your main menu with all of your different options. So that's just a very basic rundown on it. If you've got questions, or you want me to play around with it a little bit more and have a, you know, try and do something with it. I don't really use these things very much. I don't really use them for navigating. And then I've got the Garmin thing there, and then it kind of just, oops, I should point it the right way. So yeah, I've got the Garmin sticky thing there, and then it just plonks on there. Seems good. We'll see how it goes. I think it's easier plonking it than it is, you know, trying to get it in that thing. And to be fair, the Garmin mount is going to be a little bit lighter than the Chinesey thing. And given we've already added the weight of the unit, to be fair, every other gram that we can save is probably a bit of a bit of a Brucey bonus. Oh. Anyway, I'm nearly back at the car. Like I said, I hope you've enjoyed this funny little video on the Garmin GPSMAP 67i. If you've got any thoughts or questions, pop them below. If you've got any suggestions, you know, if you can help with anything, you know, pop that in the comments. Yeah, as I was saying, sorry, I distracted myself. Yeah, I don't really do a huge amount of navigating with things like that, so it really is almost superfluous to needs. But what I was thinking just earlier is that it's an emergency item, and basically there have been 2 or 3 occasions when I've been walking when it's not been an emergency that I need the SOS button, but where the weather's being so bad and the phone won't work, and because of the rain on the screen, and that it would just be useful to have something with buttons that won't be affected. And you know, now for an extra 100 grams, maybe just over 100 more, but you know, effectively for just over 100 grams, 150 grams, I'm carrying something that actually has a secondary purpose. Whereas before I was carrying the Inreach Mini 2 and its only purpose for me was in an emergency hit that button and that was it. But now I'm carrying that in this because this has that technology. Plus of course now I can use the mapping on it as well. So I think that's worth the extra, little bit of extra weight for me. Thanks very much for watching.